All right, Maddie, we are back again. My third take on this intro. And Maddie, we had a good last couple days here in crypto. For us, because we're excited to be buying at lower prices again, but the crypto market has seen a decline, Bitcoin correcting 11% since Thursday, April 11th of last week. And now we are seeing opportunities to buy again, which is, we're very excited for this. We were expecting this. Like when we go like out of the last 8 months and we see 7 straight months of green in Bitcoin, we are bound to see correction. Like we have to see correction. We had, little corrections on the way up, but now like everyone's feeling it. Everyone's getting into their emotions right now. And I don't want to spend too much time on Bitcoin because we are not Bitcoiners. Maddie, let's talk about your altcoins. How are your altcoins doing?
I mean, altcoins took it on the nose. I mean, they really just bit the curve this weekend, and there's really, no way to sugarcoat it. But really what we saw in the altcoin market, in a lot of charts, we saw a rebalancing to critical zones. Now, some charts I really wish they had the opportunity to take off a little bit more before seeing this correction. But like you said, Gav, this is not something that came as a big surprise to us. Now, the narrative that came along with this was a surprise, right? I could not have told you that Iran was going to launch 300 drones over the weekend and crash the markets after already receiving, hotter than expected CPI data, seeing those, Fed cut predictions go from 3 to 2 and not until later this year. But I did know from a rebalancing perspective, from a chart perspective, that we were well overdue for a correction. In fact, I think that Bitcoin could have corrected a lot more over this weekend. Now, we did see the altcoins get hurt worse, and we know that this is because of the surge in Bitcoin dominance. So when the markets are crashing, if you see a large uptick in Bitcoin dominance, that is an automatic signal that altcoins will get hurt more. That means that if you are seeing any monies that are not leaving the market and going into stablecoins or dollars or otherwise, those other monies may be siphoned into the Bitcoin market. We can take a look at just a few charts here for you guys. One of the things, even though it's not crypto related, this is just a great example of a slow moving market. And I talked about this breakout because the stock market and equities were the first to break out. They broke out ahead of the crypto market. And, we saw this crazy behavior in here where you just saw this big bottom back here in October, November. We see the break over the previous all-time high here back in December, do a little consolidation into the beginning of the year, and then get that second set of impulses, but really no major throwback in here to that breakout zone. So, when you zoom out and you look at what's happening in here, it doesn't look unhealthy to me at all, right? You get these big impulses, you throw back to the breakout zone. Big set of impulses, throw back to the breakout zone. So the Dow Jones, in my opinion, is mostly rebalanced. We could come back another 2%, and that would technically be enough. But if we dropped another 5 or 6% here on the Dow, I would say that would still also be very healthy in a retest of the accumulative phase. We also see with the dollar here a really big uptick in the dollar. This is something that Ken Chigbo's been talking about quite a bit. He's been a pretty big USD bull. But you had this big accumulative phase in here, and we've broken over this key resistance level of 105.5 or so. When you see a strong dollar, that's automatically going to put more weakness on risk on assets like stocks and cryptocurrencies. Now, we saw some assets like Casper really just take it really, really rough, coming down to the bottom of the range here. Guess what? I had a limit set at 2.5, had it there for quite some time. I know that we're tired of this range in here, but you guys have the opportunity to buy the bottom of the range here on Casper. When we look at XRP, we did dip as low as 42 cents, but when you look at where price action is now, again, from a macro perspective, really still within that key zone that's been really well respected for the last 5 years or so in here. We look at Zcash. Zcash is back at those lows in here, but again, still holding those multi-year lows. Again, nobody likes to see us, getting back into accumulation, especially some of the assets that didn't get the chance to fully break out of accumulation. But when we look at some of the swing trades that we're in, like Sushi, look at some of the swing trades like we're in with Mana right now, we did enter some of those double down zones. And those double down zones that we identified weren't just made up numbers of, hey, I'd really love to double down in this area. We identified key support levels and we said, all right, if the market were to have a larger correction than anticipated, this is what we would be expecting here. So we do see a lot of alts, especially some of the alts that were really overinflated, like Solana, come back and see a really aggressive correction in here. So again, everyone was telling me, you better buy Solana now. Last chance to buy Solana before it's $500, right? And what are we getting here? We're currently down 35. We were down as deep as 44. Now, I would say Solana has a much more rebalanced structure. We retested this little flag back here in December. Retesting as deep as 105 would have been ideal here. But, for the most part, we're seeing a really good rebalancing in some assets that really needed it. Now, Now, one of the last things I want to consider here is when we look at, for example, Total 3, which represents the altcoin market, we're going to take Bitcoin and ETH out of this just because their market caps are so big. When you look at where we've been, right, look at the altcoin market from January all the way through March. Guys, there was really very, very little pullbacks in here. You look at what we're holding here, we're holding on the 382 for the market as a whole. We did dip almost as deep as this kind of flagging structure from December 30. But moreover, what we're seeing with this thing on the bottom here is RSI, Relative Strength Index, is a lot of charts are entering that oversold territory. Now, does that mean, hey, we touched oversold territory, now only up from here? No, absolutely not. But we are getting into that oversold territory, and you can kind of start to see some bottoming behavior. Not seeing the lows are in for absolutely everything here, but I think for the most part across the board, what we're seeing is kind of a reset. We're seeing a flushing of leverage and a rebalancing a lot of those zones that didn't get tested after they broke out across the board.
Matty, I like that. And I think this moment is really showing why you don't just buy whenever. We do see corrections on the way up. And something that's hilarious that I just have to pin out is like on Fridays, throughout the week, people will throw down tickers for you to chart on Fridays, and you will chart them. And what people are really trying to know, like if they know a lot about a particular asset, they're trying to know, hey, is this a good time to buy this asset right now? Let me just turn this down. Is this a good time to buy this asset right now, right? And you'll give your analysis and you'll tell them, hey, it's a good time, it's not a good time. But more often than not, they will just end up buying the asset and not just wait for a correction like we've seen right now. And so you got to look for the best investments. You got to look for the best opportunities so you can capitalize and grow your portfolio before we see a big blow off top in altcoins to where it's like, okay, that's when we'll see minor pullbacks on the way up, but not like we're seeing right now. You know what I mean? So this is a great opportunity to be buying, Matty. Is that what we're trying to get at here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've kind of reinitiated my DCA for a lot of things. You guys have heard me talk about shows over the last couple months of, hey, kind of backing off some of that DCA. I'm being very particular about what I do actually DCA into. I told you I was doing more limit-based stuff for other assets. Now I would say if you guys are trying to bolster your position, now is the time to start turning on that DCA and be more aggressive with that DCA. Not saying again that bottom is 100% in and we're not going to see more volatility over these coming weeks, but now is the time to really start kicking in that DCA. There was just so many, narratives and folks on Twitter just caught up in the euphoria, and really kind of what we saw with Solana and the meme coin should have been a good indicator that we were way too hot in this market, that people, it happens every cycle, started shifting to that mindset of this time's different. We won't get any deep pullbacks. We'll only have shallow pullbacks because of this narrative, because of the ETFs, because of this, that, and the other, right? And I think that it's a good humbling experience for new and old participants that we are not in control of these markets and that we shouldn't ever be FOMOing in. When you FOMO into the market, you are more than likely going to be disappointed when it takes 2 or 3 times that amount of money to lower your average just because you weren't willing to be patient for some other opportunities. It's like I mentioned many times, there will be opportunities that pass you by, but look how many opportunities that are in front of me now that are in my zones that I waited patiently for, that I have flexibility with now because I didn't blow all that dry powder at once. So guys, just things to think about here. Try to be a little bit patient, be a little bit tactical with your trading.
Matty, I've been telling you these last couple months, I just want like a very steep correction. I think we have a little bit more to go here. Just 10% is, in previous bull markets or bull runs, bullish periods, we've seen 20, 30% pullbacks in Bitcoin.
Right.
So we might have more to go here. So I'm hoping for that so everyone can just shut up, because I'm a little fed up with everyone right now on Twitter. Everyone's just getting way too hype. I got used to
bullish.
I got used to the bear market with everyone just being quiet, and I was just doing my thing, right. And I knew what I was buying, and I didn't really care what everyone else was doing. And now everyone's all hyped for some reason and talk about their meme coins. I'm just over it. And we've seen like a big correction on meme coins actually, Matty, like Dog with Hat, Pepe doing 30%, 35% moves lower, which I honestly wish I saw that in Casper and XRP. Like XRP only moving a little bit lower, 20%, which is still big. I don't want to say a little bit, but it's still
right.
A lot. Casper 16. So we've seen some good correction here and some great buying opportunities that I'm still seeing right now. Like, it's funny, like half of my portfolio is still like way up, like that H bar, that API 3, and then I got like XRP and Casper that's seeing their correction right now, which I'm absolutely deploying. I'm looking for pennies anywhere. If I see a penny walking on the sidewalk, I'm picking it up and like I'm like trying to get everything I can because I know how important this moment is. So team,
right.
You shouldn't miss out on this important moment. Become a Crypto Charge member. The link to join us will be in the pinned comment down below in the comment section. You can join us using code YouTube for a 30-day free. Hop in the Discord, join the platform with all our shows. The Discord has our community, and we talk every day in there, and it's super exciting. You get to talk to other smart individuals. Everyone in there is still like, we even have a lot of new people getting in there, and they're trying to, get caught up in this moment with, this bullish period. A little bit of correction right now, but still a bullish period in the grandiose sense. So team, do not miss out on that. We do a lot of stuff over at Crypto Charge. You're not going to want to miss these next couple weeks. We got Bitcoin halving coming up in just a few days here, really. Not, what is that, like 14 days, 16 days now? So it's not too far away here. So you guys are going to want to be with us for the year after the Bitcoin halving. We've seen traditionally a great year after the Bitcoin halving. So I don't know what else to say here, Maddie. Everyone needs to be on the platform.
Right.
Like,
get locked in. At least give yourself the opportunity to, have a sounding board. I think that's what a lot of people enjoy about our platform is, the updates are important. The coin library is a great place to kind of help build a little bit of a portfolio for yourself. But having a sounding board with, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where my mindset is. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Just having a group to help kind of ground yourself and, be able to kind of get some opinions on some decisions and whatnot. I think it's a great experience. And I think that it's important to be connected into some community. And like Gavin said, 30 days free. The reason we give you guys that 30 days is because I truly believe you can't understand what we offer in 2 or 3 days of our platform, right? You need to kind of understand kind of some of the language we use, understanding a little bit about how we, operate with our shows. And, after you've been, exposed to that for, 20 or 30 days, then you kind of start to sink into it. So that's really, again, one of the big factors of why we make sure to give you guys a whole month on our platform without charging you, so that you can kind of get a grasp for what we're really about here.
T, we have to do the intro 12 minutes into the show. That's just how we do it here. And so for the remainder of the show, we're going to talk about XRP a little bit. We're going to talk about Casper. And what's funny, Maddie, is, we saw Ripple announcing that they're going to be doing a stablecoin. And then just within 7 days later, we see Casper stablecoin as well. So that was just interesting. Our 2 crypto picks, our 2 altcoin picks, rolling out stablecoins. Well, Ripple's a company, but you know what I mean. 2
Right.
Stablecoins on that front. So that should be interesting. We'll get into that. We'll get into some other Casper updates. And we're also I'll just, intro it right now. We're going to talk about Brad Garlinghouse giving his little crypto prediction end of year for the market cap of crypto. So team, a lot of stuff. Stay till the end here and make sure you like the video if you get something good. I've been saying it for the last couple shows and I've noticed a difference. Like when I tell you guys to like the video, you guys do it. And I greatly appreciate that. We've had some good likes down there. So please continue to do that. Don't let up. We need that. You're watching this for free right now. So just help us out on that front and we'll all be good. We'll all be one happy little family here and talk about crypto and talk about how much money we're going to make and all that good stuff. So Maddie, let's get into the topic here. Headline reads, Ripple CEO predicts crypto market will double in size to 5 trillion by the end of 2024. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse predicts that the cryptocurrency market's total capitalization will double to surpass 5 trillion this year. He attributes this projection to factors like the approval of the US spot Bitcoin ETFs, those first ones, and the upcoming Bitcoin halving. Garlinghouse also anticipates positive regulatory momentum, which is a very good thing in the United States. We need that so bad, and that is driven by the possibility of more crypto-friendly administration and increased clarity from regulatory authorities. Maddie, what is your thoughts here on our guy, Brad Garlinghouse, and his comments he just made?
So I think both of those are relatively reasonable, even though you guys know I despise timeline, oriented predictions. What did we peak out here in March? 2.7, 2.8 trillion or something like that for total market cap. I'm looking by end of cycle here for us to be like probably in the 6 or 7s, maybe even more if things get really, really spicy. But I would say, Brad is probably one of the more well-positioned people to speak to the momentum that we have in the regulatory space. Obviously going through everything here with the SEC v. Ripple Labs case, being closely tied with what's happening with Coinbase. He probably has better insight into where the SEC and where Congress is at than the average person, in addition to just having conversations with all kinds of people in the fintech space, being a fintech company, and that being not just here in the US, but also talking to other people in other regions of the world. So I would love to see some momentum in, regulation for crypto. It's going to, first of all, take away this, power that the SEC has to just kind of go rogue and, bring these enforcement actions and hurt investors and, disgorge monies that really just should never be disgorged. It's theft. That's what it comes down to, is it's theft. It's legal stealing. But as far as the crypto market cap being at 5 trillion, I think it's perfectly reasonable. When we look at the 1.618, when we draw a fib on the previous swing high, swing low for the cycle here, that's where we're putting us around 4.5 trillion. We saw the last time we had the fibs on the 18 cycle to 19 low that we did reach a perfect 4.236 with that. So we have seen some very consistent Fibonacci sequence based growth in the crypto market cap as a whole. So again, not to say 5 trillion pours in this market, that means your altcoin gets all of that, right? Over time, we're going to see this market kind of mature a bit, and the amount of money that goes into microcaps, the amount of money that goes into memes will go down. But both of those things are long-term bullish, and I think that regulatory clarity could be one of those catalysts that could bring us to a $5 trillion market cap or so by end of year.
That's awesome, Maddie. Let's move along here. We sometimes sit on topics for too long and then we end up doing 40-minute shows. So I'll just keep it moving here and talk about another favorite of ours, which is Casper. So we got some Casper updates here. With a Casper stablecoin, Sarson Funds, in collaboration with the Casper Association, introduces Casper USD, a stablecoin on the Casper Network testnet. This new addition joins other fiat-backed stablecoins like USDC in the digital currency market, and is looking to be pegged to the dollar here. Maddie, so we saw Ripple announce that they're doing a stablecoin. Now we see Casper announcing that they're doing a stablecoin. What is the grandiose purpose of all of this? Why are these people, these companies, throwing their hat in the ring with stablecoins?
One of the main reasons that people want to have native stablecoins on their own chain is to keep liquidity within their own ecosystem, right? If I can have the ability to hold a stablecoin on the Casper network and then purchase Casper as needed for deploying smart contracts, deploying NFTs, building applications, whatever I want to do on that network. And then again, also be able to sell any excess Casper back into a stablecoin without leaving the chain. That does make things easier for me. And it also creates more liquidity. It opens up the ability for us to have native DeFi on a particular chain. So we could have Casper pools where you can provide one or two-sided liquidity to a particular pool. So I can provide, one part Casper USD and one part Casper, and I earn some sort of, farming token for that. And I can, essentially also provide liquidity to the market. So that's one of the main reasons. Over time, one of the big important things we're going to need is interoperability. So the ability to move coins cross-chain. We're seeing more and more large exchanges like Coinbase offer additional vessels to move your coins. Prior to, I want to say it was about the last year, maybe 8 months ago, you only were able to send USDC over the ETH network, which was always terrible, not only because of the congestion that occurs on the Ethereum network, but the fees associated with the Ethereum network. Now I can send it on Tron or Optimism or Matic, and all of those things are going to save you literally tenfold. So that's going to be one of the most important parts of great. We're going to provide, native liquidity within our chain, but making sure that liquidity is easily transferable and bridged to other chains so that we can go ahead and utilize those coins on other chains as well. But overall, very bullish, and it will boost the overall ecosystem if thoroughly adopted.
Absolutely, Matt. And without stable coins, crypto, what would crypto be without stable coins?
Right.
That would be a reality I would not want to live in. Because just imagine, taking profits on your crypto and it directly goes into the dollar. I don't really, for many reasons that I don't want to get into, why that would have to happen. There would be no, I couldn't, back in the day, I would just imagine selling on KuCoin and the U.S. government not finding out, and so they, But now it's you go to U.S. dollar, there we go. It's going to my bank account. They can easily see that.
Right.
Obviously, I'm going to be a good boy and pay all my taxes on my crypto, government, so don't come after me. I don't have that much crypto of all, government, so don't look at what I'm doing. But Maddie, that's definitely very important for DeFi and keeping it within the ecosystem of Casper. And I was just telling you before the show, Casper with their meme coins, we saw that Shibu coin, and then there's this other one, Fatso, that just got launched, and I'm just really over these meme coins. I don't know why we can't just be a good community within the Casper community and not have to shill meme coins as a community and talk about these meme coins, because I'm just more interested in the technology and what that's going to look like in the future and making money. So I don't know how you feel about
Right.
that. Are you buying any of these meme coins since you're such a Casper bull?
No, I'm not buying any meme coins. It's the equivalent of, even if you believe in the Ethereum ecosystem, doesn't mean that you have to be involved in all the meme coins that are on Ethereum. They're still essentially, even though there's very little utility, they're basically applications. That's what they are. And that's the nature of decentralized technology, is that people will build things on the technology that is the lowest possible form of use of that chain, but it doesn't represent, the chain within itself. It's equivalent of, you investing in the Chrome browser. And people build stupid websites that you can go visit, and some people will pay for them, some people will monetize them, but it's not representation of the Chrome browser itself. So that's the best way to think about it. Is the decentralized nature of crypto will bring some unsavory and useless things to those networks, but in my opinion, it doesn't degrade the network, and it also doesn't mean that I have to get involved in those things in order to make money. I'd rather invest in the larger scale of the gas token associated with the ecosystem, instead of trying to gamble on useless applications or tokens.
Super valid, Maddie. Super valid. I'm glad I have a partner on the show that is not shilling meme coins, because I couldn't deal with that person if they did. Because now we get to talk about good tech, we get to talk about investments, and I love talking with you, Maddie, like off camera and talking about like strategy with buying crypto, because that's what makes it for me. The strategy, like you can't go into investing without a strategy. Like I'm pretty sure we
Right.
can all agree on that. And so when we get to like the strategy of it, man, I get so amped and it makes me so excited, and to be able to project what you're going to do, just like we're able to, look at the Fibonacci's, look at those extensions, and to be able to have a plan of our exit strategy, and then be able to, okay, now if I'm selling at, those exit points, was the 4.236, or whether I'm holding my third bag for the 8 Fibonacci, which is might happen on a couple of them, like being able to do that math, Maddie, and be able to look at like what's that range of money I can make is crazy. Like it's straight up
Right.
crazy, and I love doing that. And it's not to get, be like, oh, this is how much, money I'm gonna make, but it's good to see that and to like internalize that and be like, what I'm doing right now matters, because look at this
Right.
number. What am I going to be able to do with this number into other investments, into other aspects of my life? So, team, we talked a lot about good topics today. We talked about, the market correction, which is, it happens, okay? It happens. We're in a volatile asset class. We're investing into a volatile asset class, which is a good thing, Maddie, right? It's a good thing we're able to,
Right. It's the reason we're able to make as much money as we
Thank
do.
you.
It is the volatility.
Exactly, Maddie. And we talked about strategy. You should absolutely be buying a lot of the DCA should be cranked on a lot of these altcoins right now. We talked about some bullish news regarding Ripple and Brad's take and Casper. So a lot of good things, Maddie, that we talked about today. Anything to leave the team with here for the last minute?
Just make sure you guys, again, don't FOMO in on this side of things either, right? Meaning DCA is probably going to be your best friend right now. I wouldn't be trying to catch the bottom unless you already had some of those limits set. And when we look at the political landscape, we still have an election year coming up. I think that things could get exponentially better by end of year here. So don't let this short time period of pain and bearishness, make you walk away from the opportunity that is still here. I believe that we can absolutely have an enormous blow off top still, even with all of the elements in place right now. When we look at what happened kind of towards the last bear market, we had that big conflict with Russia, ended up kind of marking the relative bottom of where we were within that local low. Now, again, I'm not saying that today marks the local low, but there are periods of fear that will, concern people and think that we're not having the bull run until 2026 or 2027. I'm not of that belief. I believe that these fear events are meant to drive the markets hard and fast down, and to drive a lot of participants out of the market. So don't be that person that gets driven out of the market. Either step back, evaluate, and sit tight, which is perfectly fine, or take a look at what assets you'd really like to lower your average on and employ some DCA. But no matter what you decide, do not panic, evaluate, and then make one of those decisions for yourself.
And don't drink and trade, team. Don't do that at all.
Don't drink and trade. Don't be under any substance and trade, except for maybe weed. Maybe just weed.
All right, team. If we didn't go as deep into some of these topics today, you can gladly, ask those questions in the comment section down below. And I personally will pull them up on the Ask Maddie show, where Maddie goes on a little yap session. And we love those yap sessions. I deeply love them. And so, team, make sure you leave those comment section down below if you have any of those questions or anything in general you want to ask. I will pull them up if they are good, so make them good. But team, I think that's all we have for today. We will see you guys for the Ask Maddie show, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. Do not miss out. I want to see you there for the premiere. Don't miss out. Move your schedule around. Show up for the premiere, 2:30 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday of this week. I want to see you guys there in the live chat talking. I know there's a couple of you that show up, and I might just start, shouting out some of you guys' usernames, because some of you guys just show up every single time, and I thank you guys for that. We deeply enjoy that. But okay, we're done. We'll see you guys Wednesday. Bye.